So you're big tobacco in the 1960s, like Philip Morris or RJ Reynolds. You've been making billions getting everyone hooked on your addictive cigarettes. And one of your favorite audiences to market to is kids. See, kids are a marketing goldmine. If you can get a 12-year-old kid hooked on Camel cigarettes, that kid is only gonna smoke Camels for the rest of their lives. It's like growing up with Coke instead of Pepsi. By appealing to kids, you were creating lifelong customers. But that's not even the best part. The best part is that kids are infinitely easier to market to, unlike adults. With adults, you have to appeal to complex desires like status, sex, jealousy, greed. But with kids, all you gotta do is throw in a few cartoon characters, some bright colors, maybe some new flavors, and boom, you're good to go. And marketing to kids had been working like a charm for decades. By the 60s, you were in your golden years. This was the peak of cigarette acceptability around the world. But by the 70s, everything started to go downhill. That's when public opinion started shifting against smoking. Suddenly, advertising your cigarettes all over TV, magazines, and newspapers wasn't okay anymore. Even worse, peddling cigarettes to school kids became illegal. Kids were your favorite demographic, the easiest demographic to market to, the demographic that gave you your highest return on ad spend. You can't lose the kids, but you also don't want to go to prison. So the writing was on the wall. If you didn't take your money and marketing expertise and apply it to something else that could be marketed to kids, it was gonna be over for you. You needed something that was just as addictive as cigarettes, but that was as socially acceptable as toothpaste. But what could that be? What about sugar? Think about it, everyone loves sugar, and yet sugar can be more addictive than cocaine. If you could get your foot in the door of the sugary foods industry and take all the knowledge you've learned on how to get kids addicted to cigarettes, but apply it to sugar, you would be golden. And it was in this crisis, this turning point, this fork in the road, that big tobacco started systematically taking over big food. Shout out to America Uncovered with Chris Chappell and Shelly for covering this story first. Big fan, I'll link to their channel below, and let's get into it. And by the way guys, this video got demonetized! Hooray! If you think videos like this are important for people to watch, and you want to support the channel monetarily, consider clicking that join button below. And this isn't some shameless ask for peer donations. By becoming a member, you get a new private documentary every single month that will never be released publicly because they are just flat out too controversial. One of my personal favorites is a recent one we did on the ulterior motives behind pushing climate change. And hint, it has to do with the rich nations wanting to keep the poor nations poor. And you can watch it right now by clicking that join button below, along with all the other ones we put out on the Rothschilds, MK Ultra, Jeffrey Epstein, Iran, CIA black sites, and much more. So pause the video and click that join button below now. The first vertical that Big Tobacco targeted was sugary drinks. Fruit juices, concentrates, sodas, and everything in between. Think about it, sure, candy and chocolate are packed full of sugar, but even in the 70s, candy had a bad reputation. Everyone already associated it with diabetes and obesity. But fruit juices? Fruit juices are pernicious. On the outside, fruit juices have this aura of being natural, healthy, full of vitamin C. But on the inside, it's a completely different story. Just one small serving of Capri Sun contains more than 6 teaspoons of sugar, about the same amount of sugar as in a single serving of M&Ms. Think about how genius this was. How many packets of M&Ms could a person really eat in a day? 2, maybe 3? But how many packets of Capri Sun could that same person drink in a day? A lot more than just straight up candy, that's for sure. A lot of you may have fond memories of drinking more than 3 packets of Capri Sun in a day growing up as a kid. Yes, sugary drinks and fruit juices were the perfect target, and you wasted no time getting into the game. In 1963, RJ Reynolds bought Hawaiian Punch. And in 1988, Altria, Philip Morris's parent company, bought Kraft Food, which owned Capri Sun and Tang. Altria paid $13 billion for Kraft Foods, making it the biggest acquisition outside of the energy sector in American history. That's how important getting your hands on sugary drinks was for you. And with your foot firmly in the door, it was time to make the sugary drinks industry your own. Your plan? Take everything you've learned from marketing cigarettes to make sweet drinks like Tang, Hawaiian Punch, and Capri Sun the most marketed consumables on the planet. And your main target? The one demographic that loves sugar more than anyone else. Kids.
Happy ear to ear Kool-Aid smile, 'cause the biggest smile is a Kool-Aid smile, a Kool-Aid smile, a Kool-Aid smile. Your friends.
Big Tobacco had boiled cigarette marketing down to a science. They marketed smoking to women who wanted to lose weight. They paid doctors to prescribe cigarettes to their patients and claimed that it was dust and germs, not cigarettes, that made them sick. They got celebrities to endorse cigarette brands. And they made sure that you couldn't watch TV, go to a football match, or read a magazine without seeing at least one cigarette ad. And then there was the child-focused marketing. Cartoon characters adding fun new flavors to their cigarettes, or even getting schools to open smoking lounges for their high school students. And in 1987, when it came time to aim your marketing machine from cigarettes to sugar, one of your executives boasted, quote, "We've decided to focus our marketing on kids, where we know our strength is the greatest," end quotes. Quote, "This year Kool-Aid would be the most heavily promoted kids trademark in America," end quotes. Hawaiian Punch used to be marketed as a cocktail mixer for adults, but once you got your hands on it, you pumped up the flavor and sugar content and switched to more kid-friendly cans and juice boxes. You even took a page out of your Camel cigarette marketing playbook and developed a fun little mascot called Punchy to draw in even more kids. Punchy was the direct counterpart to Joe Camel, the Camel cigarette mascot. And Punchy was everywhere. On school books, lunch boxes, comics, clothes. Punchy became known as the best salesman Hawaiian Punch ever had. But Hawaiian Punch was just the start. Next on your list was Kool-Aid. Originally a drink marketed to families for outings and special occasions, but families drinking Kool-Aid once a week wasn't gonna make you rich. So just like Hawaiian Punch, you rebranded Kool-Aid to be the most kid-friendly drink in the country. Enter the Kool-Aid Man. And Kool-Aid collaborations with everything from Barbie to Hot Wheels. But even that wasn't enough for you. You wanted Kool-Aid to be everywhere all the time. So you took it one step further and created the Kool-Aid Kids loyalty program. The Kool-Aid version of the Marlboro Country Store that used to sell branded clothes, camping gear, and accessories to smokers. Except with this one, kids everywhere would be playing with Kool-Aid branded toys, eating Kool-Aid ice pops, drinking Kool-Aid shots, and adding powdered Kool-Aid to their water. Hawaiian Punch, Kool-Aid, Tang, and Capri Sun became your new Marlboro, Camel, and Virginia Slims. They were national bestsellers, addictive national bestsellers. They were the first thing any thirsty kid reached for when they got the chance. But it was still not enough. Remember, you needed to create lifelong customers. And to make a lifelong customer, you would need to get kids so addicted to your drinks that they can never imagine life without them.
But a nice Hawaiian Punch.
Sure.
You taste 7 kinds of fruit in Hawaiian Punch. 7 kinds of fruit in
Just adding sugar to fruity drinks wasn't enough to get kids addicted to them for the long term. Years of developing fun cigarette flavors like menthol and strawberry had taught you the importance of taste in the addiction process. Back in your tobacco selling glory days, you paid actual scientists to study the effects of flavors and colors on the brain and how you could use that to get more people to start smoking. So you did the same thing here with sugary drinks. You recruited those same tobacco studying scientists to determine exactly what flavors and colors kids liked best. But it didn't end there. Next up, you added in the additives, untested chemicals and concentrated sugar syrups that gave these drinks a very unique taste that you couldn't get anywhere else. So if a kid fell in love with a specific Kool-Aid flavor, their only choice was to buy more of that Kool-Aid flavor to quench their addiction. Sure, no one knew what large amounts of these additives would do to these kids in the long run, but who cares? And just like in your tobacco testing years, to make sure no one could accuse you of using harmful ingredients in your products, you went back to your tried and true tactic of paying off scientists. See, the FDA allows companies to market food without their oversight as long as they are generally recognized as safe, or GRAS for short. And who decides if a food is GRAS or not? Food scientists. The exact same food scientists you used to certify your cigarette flavors as safe all those years ago. And for some reason, you found out that by paying them $2,000 a day for consulting services tends to result in them approving your artificial additives without question. Huh, who would have thought? So with the science and sugar on your side, Big Tobacco was back. And now they were bigger than ever. Your products became so popular that by the 1980s, Kool-Aid was the #1 soft drink among kids 12 and under, and it could be found in more than 80% of households with children. America's future had become hooked on this artificial juice that is somehow allowed to be called food. But then, just like with cigarettes, the public started getting suspicious about sugar, and suddenly you had to go on the defensive.
Kids all love that cane, it grows so clean and sweet. They eat it when it's freshly cut.
And then that's quite a treat.
Once the public started realizing how addicted kids had become to sugar, they became furious. Wasn't it enough that you had already made millions addicted to cigarettes, and now you were doing the same with sugar? If you were gonna save face, you had to start making excuses fast. So that's exactly what you did. Just like when you told the world cigarettes weren't bad for your health, you got soft drink companies to claim sugar had nothing to do with obesity and illness. You blame parents for not choosing to give their kids healthier drinks, which is true. How was it your fault their kids were drinking liters of Kool-Aid and Capri Sun every day? Wasn't it their responsibility as parents to keep their kids healthy? The more parents pointed the finger at your marketing, the bigger your excuses became. But in the end, not even playing the blame game was enough to save your reputation. If your sugary drink empire was gonna have any chance of surviving, it would have to break away from Big Tobacco. So by the early 2000s, most of the food brands owned by Big Tobacco parted ways. The association between kid-friendly drinks and deadly cigarettes just wasn't gonna work. Today, Big Tobacco and Big Food are two completely separate entities, but one common factor remains: their marketing. Even decades after the split, big food companies are still using Big Tobacco's marketing methods to get kids and adults hooked on their products. But the spell has wore off. Today, the masses are no longer fooled by sugary drinks. It's now common knowledge that these sugary drinks aren't good for you. But you know what the public is fooled by today? Plant-based meats. You see, plant-based meat is a lie. They say it's about having empathy for animals. They say it's for the environment. They say it's healthy. When in reality, it is all about money. Plant-based meat companies have hijacked our compassion to sell us imitation meat that is made out of a bunch of cheap, affordable industrial chemicals and ingredients. Soy protein made from soybeans bathed in a solvent called hexane, a known human neurotoxin. Red number 3, a food dye that's a carcinogen that's banned in cosmetics. Caramel coloring, tertiary butyl-hydroquinone, sodium tripolyphosphate, yum! These are just some of the ingredients found in plant-based meat. Ingredients that are not plant-based and are way cheaper than growing grass-fed cows, which we've been eating for hundreds of thousands of years. And we expose all of it on our new channel called Evil Food Supply. Click the card on the screen to watch our new video exposing plant-based meats now. I created this new channel because health is wealth, and to force myself to study this stuff so you and I both benefit. Click the card on the screen to watch now.